Hi everyone, and welcome back to Practical Mechanic. This is a review of the EZoneTronics Android Radio. I installed this in my 2004 Honda Accord 4-cylinder, single climate control car. The purpose of this video is to give you an idea of what this radio is capable of and help you decide if this is something you'd like to invest in. I've had it installed for about 2 years now, and I thought it would be a good time to walk through how it's going, how I use it, and some of the main functions of the radio. First off, the installation of the radio is pretty straightforward. If you want to watch my install video of this radio, subscribe to my channel and browse through my videos. The radio kit, which I'll put a link to which one this is in the comments, it comes with everything you need to install it in a Honda Accord 2003 through 2007, so you don't need any extra cables or adapters or trim kits. All of that stuff is included already. For reference, the radio I'm going to show in this video has the 2 GB of RAM and 32 GB of storage. There are now faster versions of this radio available out there that have 4 GB of RAM and 64 gigs of storage. Obviously, those versions will be quicker and snappier than the one I'm showing here. Alright, so this radio is basically a 10-inch Android tablet running Android 10. The very first time you boot it up after installing it, I seem to remember that it takes about a minute to fully start up. Since then, it turns on quite fast. I suspect it doesn't turn fully off, but rather goes into a sleep mode. That being said, some may worry about whether it drains the battery. I haven't had any problems with that, and I regularly let my car sit for a week at a time. Alright, so let's go ahead and I'll start the car. When you turn on the car, you can set which logo appears. I set it to the Honda logo. And that's about how long it takes to boot up. When it first boots up, you see this screen. These are your radio presets. You press and hold to remember a setting, just like on a typical radio. I didn't notice any change in the sound from the stock radio. It still gets plenty loud enough for me. I haven't added anything to the sound system in this car. It's all stock besides this head unit. There is an equalizer on this unit where you can set the sound the way you want it, which is a nice feature. I don't have steering wheel controls on this car, but there is a place to map those buttons. So if you have steering wheel buttons, you can use that to map the buttons for your car. As I mentioned earlier, this is an Android 10 device, so as long as you can connect to a Wi-Fi network or to a mobile hotspot on your phone, you can install Android apps on here. Click this button to get to the apps. I've got Google Maps, Waze, YouTube installed on here. You could also install other music apps like Spotify. I want to say a little bit about the climate knobs. If you have a single climate control car like I do, then the two knobs both do the same thing. They change the temperature in the car. If you have dual climate control, then each knob controls the temperature on that side of the car. One thing I wish were different on this radio is that I wish there was a knob for the fan speed rather than the buttons. That's just personal preference. Along those same lines, I would have preferred a volume knob as opposed to buttons as well. Again, this is my preference. By the way, it seems like there are a fair number of users of radios like this or similar that have trouble with the climate control or rear defrost. I haven't had any trouble with either of these things personally, but I think this could have to do with a couple of things. The first is that if you have dual climate control, you do not use the Y cable that comes with the unit. Just plug the connectors directly into the back of the unit. The Y cable is only used if you have a single climate control and you have to link the two sides together. The defrost seems to be related to the little white cable on the back of the unit. make sure you have it plugged into the correct spot and that it is fully seated. The other reason could be the CANbus settings. Basically, this is where you tell the radio what type of car it's installed in. I'm not going to go into that in this video, but for more details on the CANbus settings, subscribe to my channel and search for the video I have on setting the CANbus settings. Okay, another question I've gotten a lot is how to change the temperature units from Celsius to Fahrenheit. This is done by going to the My Car app, then click on Settings. Then click on AC Settings, then Fahrenheit, and toggle that to on. Another question relates to accessing music on a USB drive. That can be done by connecting a thumb drive with your music to one of the USB inputs. I strung these into the glove box, but there's no reason you couldn't route them into the cubby beneath the radio as well. Okay, I saved the big one for the end, and that is how to connect to Android Auto or Apple CarPlay. The way you do this is that you use the Z-Link app. It's a little bit kludgy, but it works. I've got separate videos on setting up Android Auto and CarPlay and how to make the connections. After you have that set up, it connects more easily, but I have had to reconnect it before, so it's not seamless. So overall, I would buy this radio again. It does well with the core functionality. I can watch YouTube videos while waiting for someone in a parking lot somewhere. You can get CarPlay going, and the sound and climate control knobs all seem to work fine. Let me know if you have any questions on this unit in the comments, and I'll do my best to answer those. Again, this is the EZoneTronics radio. There are other units out there that look really similar, but have different software. I'm not sure how much I'll be able to help with those, but the settings I would imagine are pretty similar. Thanks for watching the video. I hope this helps someone out there who's wondering if they should get a radio like this. If it was helpful, I would appreciate a thumbs up. Until next time, have a good one.